What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul and I make videos about society, life, and culture in Japan, where I am a long-term resident. In today's episode, I'm interviewing my friend Matt. I'm a small channel, but actually one of the most viewed videos on my channel has been this interview I did with Matt over 2 years ago, where he was moving back to Canada after over 20 years of living in Japan. And that content seemed to resonate with a lot of people, wondering why he would move back after all these years. What was his reasoning? Why would he possibly want to leave behind basically a career and a house, and at least for a short time, his family in Japan, to return to Canada? And so today is a bit of an update. We're going to talk with Matt via Zoom and get his thoughts on readjusting to Canadian life and how everything is going. So without further ado, let's get started. You know, so many people kind of have this dream of living and working and spending time in Japan. And here's someone who, after having basically a full career in Japan, decided to leave. So welcome back, Matt, to my channel. I wanted to do a follow-up with you. You've been in Canada.
My second time on your channel. Second time.
Second time. How long are you back in Canada now?
Oh, it's been 2 years now.
2 years, right?
So just to pick up on what you just said, I was actually happy living in Japan, but I'll explain more. But yeah, not like I wasn't unhappy again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. You weren't leaving because you didn't enjoy Japan or you were unhappy.
No. Yeah, that's right. I think I mentioned before in your other video, but yeah, just make sure I say it again.
I guess as a refresher, then, if you weren't leaving because you were dissatisfied with life here.
No, not at all.
Why? What was the reason why?
For our family. That's it, right? I thought I could be happy living in both places, and I could have stayed in Japan longer. But yeah, like I think I might have mentioned this before on your previous video, but we wanted to change and want our kids to move so they can learn English and see the other half of their culture too, because they're getting a bit older now, and that's about it really. So yeah, I like my job. I like living in Japan and traveling, but I also was not homesick, but it's more for my family than for me. But now I think you asked me this. I'm glad I came actually. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you did it. The idea was for your family. You know, you have bicultural children that you wanted to experience the Canadian side of heritage more.
Yeah. So we want to show both sides of the lives to the children. My wife's Japanese. Yeah.
Right. So how has I'm going to ask specifically about you first of all. After all those years in Japan, how was the adjustment back to Canada?
Well, there were a few things. I guess you could. Some of the people refer to reverse culture shock, right? Yeah. So I did feel that also.
Like any specifics? Like anything that happened?
Specifics like. Yeah. Like I had to prepare documents, of course, since kind of boring stuff to talk about, but yeah, for the kids I had to prepare anyway, citizenship and passports a couple years in advance of coming here. It took a long time to plan this, but arriving, bringing a pet across to a different country takes time. Sure. Bet you didn't know that. Yeah. Prepare documents and shots, and then at the airport in Toronto too, they were like, okay, getting to declare, and they see my dog in a bag on my shoulder, like, oh, we have a live pet and dog food. You didn't declare that.
That's a declarable item.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I'd already mentioned it for the Japan airport, so I thought it was okay. Difference of space, population density, if you're thinking about that, those kind of things. I had to like readjust to how things are different too, and driving, the roads are wider. There's lots of flat, open parking spaces that are all free, and just people aren't just people on bicycles too, cyclists. So I like cycling here too a lot, but there aren't many of us that are cycling, even though I like driving too. So there's a problem now where I live because drivers are not used to cyclists on the road. So they often forget you're there and like pull out in front of you, or they, don't give us space in the road. So whereas in Japan, there are cyclists everywhere, right? All over Yokohama, as you know, where you live too. Yeah, it's just cars are pretty much lenient for letting cyclists go by.
That's true. You have to constantly pay attention to your your blind spots, and when you're turning, and you're making sure that there's no bicycles around, because they're very common.
But I did find driving stressful in Japan, I must say, because I was looking for blind spots. other drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, people with like strollers, and just everywhere, all around you. There's always cars and people everywhere in Japan. So I'm getting used to now being more relaxed. Yeah.
Less
Although
population
everyone,
density. Yeah.
yeah, although true, but almost everybody has cars here. It's a car culture, just like in America, you know. In the States, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
So one drawback is the public transportation is pretty bad. It's been
Right.
much better in Japan. So
Mhm.
I tried for the first half a year, just taking the bus and trying to walk everywhere. I'm like a 30-minute walk from the mall in downtown, or I got a bicycle after a while, sort of time, but still hard in winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine.
Very different winter there than Yokohama, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, but you know, it's similar to Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Not so different in that regard.
Yeah.
So I think another big question that I wanted to ask you is, you mentioned all of this paperwork and hassle about certain things, and even these issues of reverse culture shock. At any point
Yeah.
along that journey, were you like, "Ugh, I've made a mistake," or, "Oh, why did I do this?"
No.
No.
No. um, just to think it's sometimes lots to do because I'm here without my wife, and we've been together for like 15 years or more, and we do things together, or she does things and I do things at home that we help out together a lot. So prepare my son for school was a lot of work over a year ago, entering high school over here. I had to arrange for appointments for him, and while I was going to work, no, I worked for a year before he got here. He got here a year ago. I got here 2 years ago. I had to prepare documents and get him settled for the welcome center that sets up students to go to school here
Okay.
and arranges for them to go to school. Yeah, and arrange for appointments. And well, I was also studying from my teaching degree here. Yeah,
Can we back up a moment, because you mentioned you're separate from your wife? I think maybe we need to unpack that for people watching. Your entire family is not there right now, correct?
Right. Oh yeah. Maybe no one knows it. It has been 2 years have passed, but right. So like we said, I got here 2 years ago, and I working various part-time jobs to make money and set up an apartment and so on for my family to arrive. My son moved here 1 year ago, and I went back to Japan, pick him up and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh yeah, so I have some news that I haven't told you yet, even though we talk once in a while on Facebook. So,
yeah.
So my news is that in less than 2 weeks, the rest of my family will arrive here.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah. So my wife and my younger son and my daughter will come here. Yeah. Yeah, and they're gonna. So, not what do you think? They're gonna stay for 1 week. My second son will stay here for middle school because he wants to start as soon as possible. And his brother misses him. He doesn't have a lot of friends yet, so I was looking forward to seeing him again. But my wife, my daughter will go back to Japan.
Is the idea that you want your daughter to finish elementary school first before moving, having the rest of the family move?
No, and as you know, she won't finish because it'll be summer in Japan.
Right.
No, not really. We just think it's a good time for her to come next summer because we know I'll be most likely, and I hope so, working full time so I can support everybody. And if my wife gets a job here and so on. So it's more about timing and finances and so on.
Yeah.
Not really.
You've been studying, basically getting a new teaching degree so that you can support your family there.
Yes. So I'm doing an internship right now. So yeah.
So the bottom line is it wasn't financially viable to bring everyone all at once.
Oh yeah. That would be impossible, right?
Okay.
So that's why it's taken a while. And she's working full time there too, and saving money and so on, making preparations to move eventually. So she needs to be there too, you know.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you missed Japan. So like, what is it that you miss? And are there days when you think, oh, I wish I could just go do or eat or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah. I missed my son, both my son and I. My son is 16, he's going to high school here. So we live together, but sometimes we buy food and sometimes we make food that you find here, but we miss like authentic Japanese food, of course.
Right.
That's a big thing. Like I said, public transportation is great in Japan, as you know.
Hmm.
Um, just yeah, and being able to travel anywhere whenever you want to. Yeah, some things, and I miss the festivals too. Sure, summer festivals and fireworks events in Japan are wonderful too, right? Yeah, I know you like those too.
Well,
Yeah,
and I suppose even when
yeah.
your family's fully moved to Canada,
Hmm.
obviously your wife is Japanese and your children are half
Yeah,
Japanese,
yeah,
so you're not going
yeah.
to discontinue future trips to Japan and such. You're going to
Oh
obviously keep
no,
in touch
no,
with the country.
no. We'll go back for trips and so on, and perhaps next year in late summer, my mother-in-law will come visit us here.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
also
and
interesting. Do you feel like now obviously you don't know about your second son and daughter yet, but your eldest son, do you feel like
mm,
with his integration into high school there, does it seem like he's really down with living in Canada, or is he just really,
yes.
I wish I could go back to Japan?
No. He's been asked by his mother, my wife, and she said, "Oh, to come back to Japan?" She asked him in Japanese. He goes, "No." Do you miss Japan? He goes, "No."
Okay.
So, yeah, the good thing that I'm glad we came is because he's happy now,
Okay.
and also on a personal note, our relationship has changed. It's gotten better.
Ah, the
Yeah.
father-son relationship.
Yes. Yeah. With my son. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
When
great.
going through adolescence, like 12, 13 years old, 14, he was, as you know, expect like adolescents are,
Yeah.
defiant or they argue with their parents a lot, but we get along really well now.
That's
Living together, we hang out together. We've gone camping this summer and done like a lot of outdoor things that he's loving the nature here, right?
great.
And he's happy there's more space and he likes all these things. He
Great.
likes it better than living in a big city because some of the big city things he didn't really care about too much,
Hmm.
you know. Yeah, and he did like the summer in Japan actually.
Well,
So
sure. Yeah, I can get
he's
that.
saying he loves the winter here now too. He loved playing in the snow. He's like 16, like they big snowman on a balcony last summer.
Nice.
Things like that make me laugh and like, oh yeah, I'm glad we came.
That's
Yeah,
great because I think
yeah,
that's one thing that a lot of residents of Japan who are thinking of returning or bringing their families back to whatever country they came from originally. That's one of their big worries is
yeah,
the adjustment of the children and how they're going to take it and are they going
yeah.
to miss Japan. But
It
that's
depends. It depends on the children.
mhm.
Some children might not like it here, but my son, he's happier here now than he was. He says now. Yeah,
Well,
he's trying to
that's
make new friends through sports, by playing basketball and so on.
mhm.
Also, I'd like to address one of the comments from our previous video.
Okay. What was
Right on the YouTube channel, someone mentioned, I won't get this right. I don't think someone, to paraphrase, someone mentioned about they were worried that my son might get bullied or picked on because he's different,
mhm.
but that has not been the case at all. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm happy to say that it's a very multicultural city here. It's a small, compared to Yokohama, it's a much smaller city, around 100,000 people around here. But in his high school, there are 400 EAL students as English as an additional language.
Hmm.
It's quite a lot of a school of
Yeah.
1,500 students. It's a big school. So there are a lot of international students who are staying temporarily. People have moved here recently, and a lot of families from different countries moving here. So population is growing actually. Yeah, so
How is his
he
English
says
coming along?
slowly,
Really? Okay.
but the good point is, like, compared to like a year ago, we just speak only English at home right now. So
Okay.
it's better. Actually, it is improving. Yeah. Whereas at home with my wife, and we speak a mix of English and Japanese, but more Japanese. But now he's leaning towards last couple of months of speaking only English at home with me, which is great. So
Okay.
it is improving. So is his reading ability, and he's listened to like a lot of English pop songs too on YouTube and so on, and Spotify.
Great. Well, that's good to hear that
Yeah.
that commenter's prediction was about being bullied or such
No,
wasn't the
no,
case.
it
That's
didn't.
nice.
No, not at all. He says, I asked him, like, and he's being honest with me. I'm pretty sure that he's never gotten bullied before, just by
Okay.
being who he is. So yeah,
Well,
that's great. I think
great
I'm
to
really
hear.
happy that he's happy too. Yeah.
Was
So
there any that sounds like life is going really well for you. You've certainly adjusted. It's great that your son is adjusting, and I predict that given that circumstances, it sounds like you'll be the rest of your family will be able to adjust pretty well, especially as
yeah,
you become pretty established there and ready for them to move
hopefully.
to join you.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
anything
We'll see.
is there anything else that you wanted to like share about your experience that you think would be interesting for people who might be thinking of going through the same thing, or are interested about your adjustment back to Canadian life.
Yeah, it depends on your situation, of course, but um, yeah, for us it was a good decision. Like I said, I could have lived either place. I really like Japan a lot too, but now I'm glad we came for my son's sake because I know he's happy and we're having a good experience now living here. Yeah, it just next couple months it's a bit of a tricky, getting by without just for my experience, like doing my degree now and
Yeah.
working two part-time jobs a lot and I'm trying to get a loan worked out and everything. So it's tricky,
Good luck.
but
Good luck with all
um
that.
yeah, just generally though, it's if you think it'd be a good idea for your family, I just recommend trying it. But you can go back for a trip if you like. But yeah, it's been great. There are ups and downs, and sometimes we miss things about Japan. Um, but we'll see what happens with the other rest of my family.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do a follow-up interview, Matt. I'm hoping that the people who were wondering what happened to you will enjoy watching this video. And thank you so much for taking the time. I want to encourage anyone who's watching this video that if you have any questions that you want to ask, as you probably noticed, Matt read the comments of the last video because he responded to one in today's video. So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment on this video. And even if he doesn't get around to it, I'll probably copy and paste it and send him a message saying someone asked about blah, 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 and try to get back to you with an answer. But again, thank you so much for talking with me tonight, Matt. And best of luck to you finishing your degree and getting your whole family over there. And probably do a final, once your entire family's there, I might do a final episode with you just to see how it's all going.
Wait, 1 year from now.
1 year from now. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You're on the calendar. I'll put you right over here. Okay. Okay,
Great.
man. Thank you so much. And you have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.